I decided to treat myself today and get ready, sit down and talk about one of my favourite authors. I really just felt like talking about Sally Rooney and her books today. I don't know why, I felt a pull. I saw it on the bookshelf and I said, you know what? I'd love to chat about Sally Rooney books today, and so I'm going to do that in a video. So welcome to my video ranking all of Sally Rooney's novels, and I'm going to start with my least favourite and work up to my favourite. This, in terms of, I think this has been thought through in my mind many a time, but I think this is really going to be me saying this is my favourite Sally Rooney book, and for now, this is my favourite. Maybe over time it will change, I don't know. So let's get into it. Down at number 4, Beautiful World, Where Are You? I don't know if I read it at the wrong time. I don't know what was going on here. I don't know if it was me or her. I don't know, was it me or you, Sally? But this book, in comparison to all of her other books, did not hit in the same way that all of her other books hit. I can say the 3 other books of hers, I personally think they're so close in their ranking that any which day, perhaps they could switch into each other's places. This book will never be up there with the other 3 for me personally. This book follows 2 best friends who navigate life, love, relationships, living in Dublin, through their point of view, and I think it's like emails to each other, and their kind of relationships with 2 particular people, and there is so little I remember about this book, which is kind of sad. That's why, with all of her other books, I remember so distinctly how I felt throughout reading them and the characters and all that kind of stuff. But this book didn't stay with me. It didn't make me think deeply like all of Sally Rooney's other books made me do. And that is why it is in the 4th place for me. It was missing that something. It was missing that Sally Rooney flair, I would say. What do you guys think of this book? I'm so interested to hear. Did you like this book? Did you not? What was your rating? I'd say, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to get a 3 out of 5. And from one of my favorite authors, that is kind of crazy, right? Okay, moving swiftly on. The next book I'm going to speak about, again, like I said, these next 3 books, they could change at any moment, and I could read them again and go, oh my god, no, I prefer this one. But I know a lot of people don't like this book, and me putting it in 3rd isn't a reflection of that, because I actually really, really love this book. I actually read it 2nd. I read Normal People first, because that's only when I was introduced to Sally Rooney, my sister, thank you very much. And when Normal People came out, and she's like, they're not connected, you can read whichever you want first. So I read Normal People, hooked. I read Conversation with Friends. I was like, oh my god, I love her. So in 3rd place, and this is hard for me to say, because these 2, even the 3, with the next one, but these 2 are so close together in my mind. I love them both so much. I think the reason why Conversations with Friends is in 3rd is that I don't think about it as much as I do the other 2. And I understand why people don't love this book as much as Normal People, because the characters just aren't as likable. I get it. This book follows Frances, who is a student at university, aspiring writer. They make friends with this cool older couple, go to their house in France, and she starts an affair with the husband of this couple, Nick. And it's just everything that happens regarding that, and also her friendship with her best friend Bobby, and how that gets fractured, and how she's making all these just wrong decisions that you don't agree with, but you know, not everyone is perfect. Frances, she's only 21 in the novel, and she makes some shitty mistakes. And I just remember feeling this book is very visceral. I don't know how to explain it, but I remember feeling very much in each moment with these characters, and you know, this extravagant dish kind of lifestyle that the couple Nick and Melissa live. You're totally in there with these young students who are getting to live this life, and it's all very intoxicating and emotional at the same time. You're getting, you know, you can, if you, we all are, or we're 21 once, and you can imagine just the fun, you know, at 21 I definitely didn't know who I was, and you can feel that palpably from Frances's thoughts and actions. She's in this world that is just like, wow, and then she has these feelings for this handsome, older, successful man, and yeah, it's just the kind of, yeah, the complicated feelings that come with that, and how it fractures her relationship with her best friend, and who is also her ex, by the way. Yeah, it's very, very good. I really enjoyed it. I think for this one especially, I enjoyed the setting, and I enjoyed the kind of things that they were getting up to more than anything in this book. It's not like I love these characters, but I love their relatability, you know, act in certain ways that you're like, why are you acting? I cannot believe somebody would do that or say that or do that. And it's like, people do. Again, I would say, God, this is a 4. See, I'm very judgmental, like this should be a 5 out of 5. It is a 5 out of 5. Sorry, it is a 5 out of 5. I just love her writing. And throughout this, by the way, without being said, I'm not even going to mention her writing. Maybe I will again, but I have no faults. I have no anything. Apart from Beautiful, Where Are You? I feel like I didn't feel the Sally Rooney voice as much as I did in her other books. But every other book, I think she is an exquisite writer. I love her writing. I don't understand how people, you know, when you're like, I understand why people wouldn't like it. I do not understand how people don't like her writing. But of course, that's just because I love it so much. I can, of course, appreciate that people might not like it, but I don't know why. So that is Conversations with Friends. So next up, guys, of course, the famed Normal People. And like I said, with these 3 books, they all could. But this is my first book I read by Sally Rooney, and oh my goodness, did it make me cry? Did it make me think deeply? This is about Connell and Marianne, who we follow throughout them in secondary school in the west of Ireland, and then going to Trinity College. And in school they start a relationship with each other, but the dynamic there is that Marianne is this rich family. She's a bit of an outcast in school. She doesn't have many friends, you know, she's known as the rich girl, little bit weird maybe, extremely intelligent, and Connell is a popular GAA guy who, you know, everybody loves, and they start this relationship, but it's a secret relationship. And then follows on to them in Trinity and then meeting again. It not only talks about love, romantic love, it talks about family, it talks about social differences, growing up in Ireland, the differences that you experience when you go from, let's say, the west of Ireland, you're this popular guy, and then you go to Dublin and you are nobody, and you are in Trinity, which is a very prestigious university, and you feel out of place. Overall, this is a love story, and it's a heartbreaking love story, but it's a really relatable love story. You know, when you're unsure of yourself, you can't explain, you don't feel confident enough to say your true feelings. Don't want to get hurt, you're trying to protect yourself. And this is so typical in life. I feel that I don't find it unusual that the 2 of them, there is a lot of miscommunication, and I wouldn't even say miscommunication, incommunication. They just don't want to say stuff because for fear of rejection, for fear of showing their true colours. You wouldn't think a book like this would be a page turner that you finish overnight, but it absolutely is. The way that she writes, I find The way that Sally Rooney writes, I find so easy to read. I find it just flows in my brain, whatever way it is, it just works for me. And I absolutely devoured this book. I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved everything about it. I don't really have any notes. I actually don't. And the funny thing is, even though I'm about to talk, which I'm going to talk about intermezzo, is I think I do have a slight note on that, but it also doesn't take away from the fact that it's going to be my number one. So number two, Normal People, guys. And number one, which I honestly never thought it would be in number one, Intermezzo. This book actually tore me apart. This book is about two brothers who, after the loss of their father, are navigating basically their life, both in Dublin, but both with very different lives. Peter's a lawyer, very high flying lawyer, has always been quite popular, has been, you know, what people would say, like, yeah, just a typical popular lad who is very clever, successful, all that kind of stuff, but has a lot of demons to bear and of his own personal deep problems, and he feels deeply. And yeah, and then you've got Ivan, who is his younger brother. I think there's like almost 10 years. There's like 10 years between them. He is an introvert, a chess prodigy, a almost too pure is what we'd call Ivan. He is too pure, and Peter, you often think, is the opposite. It's following their lives in Dublin, their relationship with one another, which is very strange, following the death of their father, because there's complicated feelings to do with them and their relationship, and the house that's there, and blah 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 blah. Both of them are also in the midst of interesting / unconventional romantic relationships that you're following at the same time. And I really loved how this book made me made me think about my previous relationships, the way that I've acted in relationships, the way that I've perceived myself in relationships, the way that, and I've spoken about this, go watch my reading vlog on it, because I think my real raw emotions are probably better at articulating how I feel really about this book and how it did make me feel. But you know, anything from how you are perceived in a relationship, how the person you are with makes you feel in the outside, in a very, you know, how you might love somebody because of how much they love you, and how you feel validated by, oh my god, this person truly loves me, I gotta like them too. And these are usually kind of, I'm not saying that this is something, anyway, I'm actually not going to go into it, because I do go into it in my reading vlog. Go watch it, because it is just all my emotions and my real thoughts while I'm reading this book fresh. But that is some of the reasons why I love this book. And also the writing in this book. I have never yearned so much for my home city as I have reading this book. Reading this book made me book a flight home, so I could walk on the streets, go to the pub, see the people, feel the air. And she writes so beautifully and poetically about the best city in the world, even though I don't live there, and I love London as well. But she made me just go, oh my god, Dublin is a city. And it's not even about Dublin, and for some reason it was like Peter's walkings around the city after going to the pub, or you know, meeting with friends, or meeting with his old friend, that made me go, oh my god, I love that city. And I don't know whether she meant that, or it was kind of a love letter in a halfway to Dublin, but it was for me, and it definitely made me read Book About My Home. Like I said, I do actually, I actually, even though this is my number one Sally Rooney book, I would say that there's gripes I have with Beautiful World, Where Are You, as you know. I actually think I loved it so much, but I was, even though this still gets 5 out of 5, and I feel bad saying this, but I did feel a bit disappointed, not by the ending, but I felt it was wrapped up too nicely in a little bow, which I found unusual for Sally Mae. And I did feel that way. And even though I loved it, and I was like, oh my God, it's such a nice ending, I do go, oh, is that? Because I always feel like her books are grounded in so much reality. Did it feel real to me? I don't know. That is something on reflection that I think about this book, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it is my favourite book of hers. I love it. I need to reread it again already. It was a year ago I read it, and it's wonderful. And I think another thing, like I've said with the other ones, I waited until I felt I was in the mood to read Sally Rooney, and that really helped. And also, is it just the time of my life that I'm in that this book hit so perfectly? I think it could have been. What is your rating for Intermezzo? What did you think about it? What did you hate about it? I know a lot of people hated the characters online, and see, I can't ever hate a book for a character not being nuanced, a character not having flaws, a character not having bad things about them, because that's just life. Questionable character traits about these characters doesn't take anything away, but I loved them. I loved Peter and Ivan. I loved them, and I loved their relationship, and I loved all their other relationships, and I loved everything about this book apart from my little question on the ending. I won't forget about that. So anyway, guys, that is my ranking currently of Sally. Look at the way I say currently. I can never be certain about anything. I always have to leave the door open just in case. But currently, that is where they stand. So we've got number 1, Intermezzo, Normal People, number 2, number 3, Conversations with Friends, and yet really right down there 4 is Beautiful World. Where are you? Guys, let me get these. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And do give this video a like and give me a follow if you did. And let me know which books you want me to talk about next. And give me your ranking. Which is your ranking? I'm not even in the right order here. Hang on. Woo! Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.